Hi, and welcome to the Access Direct Opening Bell, your essential pre-market podcast. In just minutes, get key global updates, overnight trends, and market-moving factors that set the tone for the day. Whether you're a seasoned trader or just someone tracking the markets, this is your go-to briefing to stay ahead at all times. So let's dive straight in. Happy Friday, and we will start with US stocks, which gained a little yesterday as traders mulled the implications of a legal battle surrounding tariffs and Nvidia's earnings beat. The S&P 500 and the Nasdaq rose 0.4% and 0.2% respectively, but not before a brief scare. Meanwhile, a federal court blocked a ruling from the previous day that had threatened President Trump's sweeping tariffs plan. Elsewhere, data showed that GDP fell at a 0.2% annualized pace in Q1, while jobless claims climbed in a sign that the economy is slowing down somewhat. In addition, Trump met Fed Chair Powell for the first time since beginning his second term and urged him to lower rates. In other markets, the VIX fell for the third day in four. The dollar in the 10-year Treasury yield dropped. Gold rose nearly 1% and ended back about $3,300 an ounce, while oil was on track to decline for a second week ahead of the OPEC Plus meeting this weekend, where an output increase is widely expected. Back home, the rupee fell along with most of its Asian peers. The currency finished 0.2% down at 85.53. Coming to stocks, the Nifty ended 81 points higher at 24,833 in a seesawing session, while the India VIX fell 8.9% as the cost of protection continued to drop. The NSE 500, small cap and mid cap indices all outperformed the Nifty. Nearly 60% of the NSE 500 stocks gained. 11 of the 12 main NSE sectors finished higher, with metals and realty rising 1.2% and 0.7% respectively. FMCG was the only sector that finished down as it slipped 0.1%. The best and worst performers on the Nifty were IndusInd Bank, which rose 2.4%, and HDFC Life, which fell 1.1%. Technically speaking, the Nifty is still caught in a sideways market defined by the 24,462 and 25,116 range. Yesterday's recovery in the final minutes traced a long lower shadow and a small real body that was closer to the day's high, and that is a bullish sign. Immediate support and resistance lie at 24,677 and 25,000 respectively. Meanwhile, provisional data show that foreigners invested 884 crores yesterday. The month-to-date number stands at over 18,200 crores. On to derivatives, and the Nifty's put-call ratio went to 0.86 from 0.76 previously, while the Bank Nifty's went from 0.85 to 1.02. Nifty puts added were greater than the call addition that was seen, and implied volatility slumped 230 basis points, which meant that on a net basis, market participants remained bullish. Options concentration for the 5th June expiration is showing a trackable range of 24,800 to 25,000 for the day, with the highest change and addition seen at the 24,800 strike for both calls and puts. Note that we have ignored distance strikes that are far out of the money for the sake of this analysis. Volatility is expected to be broadly lower today, with the demand for 1% out of the money calls yet again dropping slightly less than that for similar distance puts, which means that the view from here also remains positive. Speaking net index options activity, foreigners and proprietary traders were bearish but barely so, while retail investors were bullish. Elsewhere, foreigners' net short positioning in index futures fell slightly to 78,000 contracts. Looking forward to today's trading session, the GIFT Nifty was up 100 points at 7 a.m. Asian markets were in the red, led by Japan, where CPI rose to a 2-year high. US index futures were also down an average of 0.2%. Speaking stocks, Balaji Amines, Grasim and Varrock Engineering were at horizontal support, while ABB and Hindustan Copper were at horizontal resistance. Asian Paints, Carborundum Universal and Bajaj Finserv were at trendline support, while Dabur and Crompton were at trendline resistance. Speaking breadth, 82%, 80% and 51% of stocks in the NSE 500 were above their 50, 100 and 200-day averages. GDP and fiscal deficit data is due from India today, while University of Michigan sentiment, personal income and core PCE numbers are due from the US. That is a wrap on the day's podcast. Please note that this podcast serves solely for informational purposes and should not be considered financial advice. For a comprehensive disclaimer, please visit our website. Thank you, enjoy your weekends, and we will see you Monday at the same hour. Goodbye.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.